What's up, guys? Today on my channel we're doing another Hearthstone arena run. This time we're going to be not doing speed picks. A couple of you have asked me, I guess, how do you build a deck in Hearthstone? And the answer is, I guess, well, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. Number one is understanding your class. Number two is understanding card advantage. So people talk about card advantage, and essentially it just means it's basically trading your cards more effectively than your opponent, but also like having the advantage in that you have more cards at your disposal. So another thing that people talk about is value. So if a card has good value. So essentially, I'm picking between these three rares here. Twilight Drake, okay. Light Warden, definitely not really good in this deck because it's a druid and it doesn't do a lot of healing. Keeper of the Grove is great. Because it has good value. So he can drop into the battlefield and instantly affect it by dealing 2 damage or silencing a minion. More often than not, if you drop him on turn 4, you'll do 2 damage and try to kill something. But silencing a minion is also really good if it's something that has a good effect on it, like say a Demolisher or something. So the reason you say that this has good value is because you play the card, you can instantly take care of one of their cards, and they'll have to spend at least 1 card to get rid of yours. So it trades pretty well. So you can get an advantage in cards by removing one of theirs, and essentially you've only spent 1 card to deal with it. So it's like a good 1-for-1 trade. But anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about that right now. I can maybe explain while I'm playing. But Keeper of the Grove, I would say, out of these cards, has the best value. As far as other things you want to consider when you're making your deck, your mana curve is super important. Obviously, I've only picked 1 card, so curve isn't that big of a deal right now. I know that Ironbark Protector is really a bitch to deal with late game, assuming that you have board control already. So I'm going to grab the Ironbark Protector as opposed to those other 2. A 3/5 for 4 is great because it's hard to deal with. These other 2 aren't going to do much in this deck, so I'm going to pick this Engine Shieldmaster. This one's a little hard to pick. I'm inclined to pick either of these 2. This one is okay value if you have it in your starting hand, because you can usually get rid of like their 1-drop or sometimes even their 2-drop and then have a creature on the field, but it's still only a 1/1. Savage Roar is great assuming you have board control, but I'm not going to pick it up just yet. I think I'm going to go with the Grizzly. And wow, we've picked up a legendary. So a 7/7 that gets +1s at the end of each turn. Also great assuming you have board control. Whenever you play a card, I think this is probably the best one out of these because it's the lowest drop, so it affects the battlefield soonest. And if you can play a card right after you play him, then you get your 2/1 out, which is nice. Nosdorm is great and everything, but he's a 9-drop, and I don't think them having 15 seconds is that big a deal if they're like a good player. So we're going to go with Illidan. Of these cards, I really like Claw. But all it really does is removal, right? Nightblade is good. I'm going to go with Raid Leader and hope I get some more cards that are low drop that I can affect the battlefield with. So Bloodfen Raptor. Mogushen Warden is really good just because he's hard to deal with. He has 7 toughness, but 1 damage isn't amazing. Naturalize is good for big creatures, but we're kind of hoping that we have board presence by that point in the game anyway. I really like Thrallmoth Farseer, assuming I have stuff to buff him with. So we're going with that. So here's where we want to maybe pick up some card draw. We have 2 cards that draw a card, and we have 1 guy that buffs other stuff on the battlefield. This normally I think is what I would pick, but I have no card draw at all yet. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this Loot Hoarder, I think. All right. Molten Giant is really good, assuming that you're losing the game, especially if I have something to buff him with that gives him Taunt. Each other card in your hand. I don't have a lot of card draw yet, and South Sea Captain obviously useless, so I think I'm going with the Molten Giant. This is a really hard choice. I don't have anything that buffs my attack that much, so Savagery is out. Starfall is great because it's a board wipe. Demolisher is great for early board presence. I think I'm probably choosing wrong, but I want to go Demolisher. Geez, this is another tough choice. Lord of the Arena is always really good. I think I have some good high drops already, though. And silencing a minion's always good, and I want some low drops as well. So Innervate's great. Magma Rager not very good, just because most of the time he's not going to be able to even attack unless you have board control, and even if you do, sometimes they'll have stuff that just deals 1 damage. I like this, buffing a minion, give him 4 attack or 4 health and taunt. Innervate's good, but if they deal with whatever you put out instantly, then it was a waste. I'm going to go with that one. Druid of the Claws, great. You can either charge or have him taunt. I could get another Ironbark Protector. I don't really want that high of a drop, though. We don't have any 5 drops yet, so that's good there. I could get a second Demolisher, which would be okay. Secret Keeper is definitely not something we want because Druids don't have any secrets. Argent Commander is amazing because he'll trade really well. Or he's just a 4-2 that's annoying to deal with. But I have some decent high drops already. Not a lot. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of making sure I have a Demolisher in my hand because it's a really good card. I picked up a Mogushen Warden already. I'm going to pick up a second Mark of Nature and then see if I get something else that I can't buff it with. Frost Elemental's okay. Soul of the Forest is something I've actually been playing with in my Constructed Druid deck recently. It's not amazing, because if you don't have board control, then it's basically useless, but... man, this is a tough choice. I kind of want to pick this. I really need some more card draw for that to be worth it. So there's another Loot Hoarder, which is nice. Mark of the Wild's really good. I don't have anything that I'm really going to use the spell damage with right now, so... I think between all of these, I don't have any 1-drops. He would be really good if I had both of these cards. I'm going to pick Mark of the Wild and then hope I get another low drop. Okay, Young Priestess is great. I could get a 3rd Demolisher. I definitely don't want Cold Light Oracle unless I want him for the card draw. The only problem is we each draw 2 cards. That being said, it's like a desperation move if I really need card draw. I think I'm going to go with Young Priestess. Assuming I can protect her or buff her, she's really good. Wow. No good cards for me here. I'm going to go with the Oasis Snapjaw because I could always... actually, this guy sucks. The Frostwolf Grunt sucks, but if I could find if I get a Buffy card with him, then he's okay. But yeah, 2-2 for 2 is not very good. They call that a bear in Magic, I think. Yeah, it's definitely between these two because I don't really have any spell damage stuff, and I'm going to go ahead and say Frostwolf Grunt. Gurbashi Berserker is really good. I don't have a Claw yet. I kind of want some removal early, so maybe we'll get a Claw. Wild Growth is great if I want to get... it's also technically card draw if I already have 10 mana. Maybe we'll go with Wild Growth. I could get a 3rd Loot Hoarder. I really like the Stormpike Commando because he can clear a low drop out or allow you to trade well, and he's a 4-2, which is okay. We don't really have many card draw cards right now. I have these 2 Loot Hoarders, and that's pretty much it. I think a 3rd Loot Hoarder might be kind of overkill. But I don't have any other card draw in my deck. I think this is the better card, but against my better judgment, I'm going to go with this. Out of all these, I'm going to say Darkscale Healer allows you to maintain board control. I don't have a lot to trigger Gurbashi unless I want to run him into one of their creatures, but that's assuming that they have creatures out. And ideally, I'm holding board control pretty well. I'm going to go with the Healer. I could get a second Wild Growth to get up to these high drops, but I actually have a lot of low drops right now. I'm gonna go with the Heart V, I think. Fairy Dragon's always great early on because, because she can't be targeted by spells. But the only problem with that is I can't target her with my own spells. I think I'm going to go with the Berserker in hopes that I could buff him with a Mark of Nature or something along those lines. I could get a 4th Loot Hoarder. I think I'm going with a 2nd Silent Sea Owl. And now we have a decision. Doomsayer is okay, but not in this deck. Blood Knight is okay, but not in this deck. Actually, Blood Knight's really good in the right deck, but I'm going to go with Mountain Giant just because I don't have a better option right now. I'm going to go ahead and say this Taunty guy, even though it's kind of useless. If I was to get he would actually be really good if I dropped him and then had a Mark of Nature, because then I could make him a 4/4, potentially on turn 2 if I have the coin. And that's never bad. Useless, really good if I have cards in my hand, but this guy immediately affects the battlefield potentially, so I'm going with Dakota. All right, so I hope based on me explaining my picks, you kind of got an idea of how I build my deck. Basically, I want to make sure that I have card draw. I want to make sure that I can get early board presence, because that's super important, because essentially if you can get board presence and you're forcing them to deal with you, spending cards to deal with you, then you'll always be on the advantage. Like, it'll be your play to put something out on the battlefield, assuming that they weren't able to trade with your creatures and also take board presence. So I think maybe my worst pick was not getting that board wipe, because now I have none. So assuming I go first, I might be kind of screwed if I don't have one of these low drops. But let's see how it goes. I hope it goes all right. I don't know, I might just do one game, I might do two, it depends how long it takes, because I took kind of a long time explaining things, so I hope that made sense. I wasn't super clear on what is meant by card advantage, or value or whatever, but I think you basically got it. Okay, so we're going second, which is nice. I like that I have the Shield Bearer and the Young Priestess, so I can actually put these both out and keep on giving him health. I want to get rid of this Warden, because I think I have enough early taunt stuff, and I might even be able to buff this guy up to the point where he can enrage and be doing his +3 attack. So I'm going to get rid of that one card. We get a Wild Growth. I think more important is taking this early board control, and then I can do the Wild Growth and see what happens after that. So ooh, okay. Potential. All right, so we're doing this, and this is potentially really bad, because I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. I'm basically hoping that he can't deal with this right now. It would have been nice to... Okay, so he's basically saying, okay, I can't do anything. And he didn't attack my guy. So now here's where I have to make a little bit of a decision. He only has 3 mana next turn because he doesn't have the coin. And the only thing that he can play that will wipe my board right now is a whatchamacallit, Hellfire, which does 3 damage to everything. And he won't be able to do that next turn. So I'm going to go ahead and put even more out on the board, which might be a bad move, but
more training.
Assuming that she starts buffing this guy too, which she did, amazing. We're going to be looking okay here. He can Shadow Bolt and then deal with this or this, but he won't attack this because it has 4 health, and then he'll be doing 5 damage. So if he has a Shadow Bolt in his hand, which costs 3, he'll probably... Actually, that won't even kill this guy because it got buffed up once. So he'll still have to waste a turn killing that, which is nice.
For the crusade!
Alrighty. An interesting choice. So now what he's planning to do, I think it's safe to say the reason that he did that is because he's got a Hellfire in his hand and he's planning to use it. So I have some decisions to make. I think what I want to do is we're going to hope he doesn't have the Hellfire, essentially. I'm going to go ahead and take 2 damage by attacking this. I still have my Taunty up. We're going to use this guy and enrage him.
More training.
And hope that she buffs him, essentially, so that he can't just kill it with an easy spell. Nice. So if he's got a Hellfire, that sucks for me. If he doesn't have a Hellfire, then I'm in okay shape right now. And I could use this Mark of the Wild to buff him up. So we'll see what he has to deal with me. But right now we're looking okay. It looked like he was thinking about drawing a card. Based on the fact that he hasn't used a Hellfire already, I don't think... Oh, no, there it is. So The thing is, it does it to him. That's why he was hesitating on that. So I think I'm going to put out this Demolisher. Although if he has a Shadow Bolt in his hand, then that's just a complete waste. So I might want to consider ramping up so that next turn I can go ahead and play my Illidan. The only problem with that is it allows him to take board control his next turn, which means that putting out Illidan might be a mistake because then he might just be able to deal with it right away. So I'm going to put out the Demolisher and hope he doesn't have a Shadow Bolt in his hand, essentially. If he does have a Shadow Bolt, he'll probably just Shadow Bolt my guy and then draw a card or something along those lines. And he does have a Shadow Bolt. Oh no, he is going to play something, it looks like. Okay. That's not too terrible. So, Mark of Nature. I might want to save that for my Illidan, the only problem being... I have that for my Illidan, though. This is kind of a silly move, because I'm not actually silencing anything. But I'm going to give my guy 4 health and taunt.
Job done.
Hopefully that means that these guys will trade and then he'll do something to get rid of it so that I can play my Illidan next turn. Now, so here's where we talk about card advantage. He's got card advantage over me, which is not, you know, unusual against a Warlock, but I would love it if he just traded there. If he could deal with this without trading his creature, that would be bad for me. Ooh, Bane of Doom. That is a really good card. Though he didn't get something great off of it, so... Now, the only issue is that playing the Illidan this turn would be a mistake, because I want to get good value out of him, and I did pull one of my Loot Hoarders, which is nice. So we're going to drop him, we're going to armor up, and then this is probably, once again, a mistake. I actually want to make it so I can go ahead and play both of these next turn, so I think I am going to use this Wild Growth, even though I'm not going to get to draw a card from it. Now I can definitely play these 2 cards next turn, which sucks, actually, because if he can deal with it, then I'm screwed. And Warlocks have a card called Siphon Soul, which allows them to just kill a creature no matter what. So basically, I'm doing this. I'm going to accept that I take 2 damage so that he has to trade if he wants to just attack my creature with this guy. Most likely he has something in his hand that's just going to kill him, but we'll see. We'll see what he plays. But yeah, he's got card advantage over me, and he has board control, unfortunately, so I'm losing this game pretty badly.
I wonder.
2/7 Beast. So he's just going to go for board control, which and he got lucky. So I have a couple options. I think what I want to do is play this guy, see what he kills. Alright, that's not what I wanted it to kill. However, I wanted it to kill that guy, because he can buff it up for, well, actually, he can only buff it up for 1 turn, now that I think about it. We're going to do this, and I don't care that much about his 2/1 right now, because I can kill it whenever I want. I want to kill this guy that's been causing problems for me, and I'll draw a card. So now, our cards are actually even. He just has way better board control than me. So I guess we'll see what he plays. The good thing is he's going to be very reluctant to drop an Infernal, because it'll kill his Buffy guy and it'll kill this guy. So he'll kill 2 of his own creatures if he drops an Infernal, and then that will be actually good for me. So he's just got a 2/1 charge. So he's just going to go for the win, essentially.
I'll put it on your tab.
Interesting. Okay, so he just wants to attack my face, I think is what he's about to do. Unfortunately, if he just wants to kill me with a bunch of little dinky creatures, it's probably not going to work out for him that well. That's not a good play. So here's what we're doing is we're going to do 6, 7, 8. Yeah. What I want to do is drop this Illidan here. And then 5. This would make him a 9/7. Unfortunately, if I make him a 9/7, he can just, I won't be able to kill this big guy, and he'll just be able to kill my dude next turn. So we're gonna buff up this guy actually. We get a little flame. Kill this creature. He still has 2 toughness, so he's gonna have to attack it with one of these guys, maybe his big guy, and then he won't, unless he has a card in his hand that can do it, kill my Illidan. So we'll see what he has. If he has a power overwhelming in his hand, then I think I just straight up lose the game. He's buffing his Murloc up, and a Succubus, so he actually doesn't have what he needs to kill my creature just yet. Next turn, however, I'm going to play this Taunty guy, which is nice. And then he's, I don't know what he's actually gonna do. Okay, cool. So he definitely has board control right now, but I have a way better creature than all of his creatures. Yeah, he's just gonna go straight for my face because he knows attacking this is useless.
That was a mistake.
All right, so we're gonna do this. Get a flame. Do this.
Handle it.
And now, he's not gonna trade well with any of those. I'm gonna kill this.
To taste my blades.
I'm gonna give myself 1 armor, and I'm just gonna attack him. It may have been a bad idea to trade with that creature, because now if he has a Hellfire in his hand or something, then he kind of owns me. So he doesn't have anything in his hand right now that allows him to kill this creature. Otherwise, I would just lose the game straight up. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he would be actually 1 short. That being said, if he does not kill me this turn, or if he does not regain board control this turn, then he's going to be in a lot of trouble. So I have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 damage on the board. And because he just hurt himself, that is lethal. I didn't count this because I'm assuming this is going to die. But we'll see what he does. What is he going to play? If he has power overwhelming in his hand, he also... he doesn't quite know if he did that. Power overwhelming, so that's 4 damage. 5, 6... Yeah, so even if he has power overwhelming right now, I don't know that he beats me. He would pretty much have to have a Hellfire to do anything, but that would also wipe his own board. So let's see what he does. He's not quite sure what to do, which must mean that he doesn't have many good options. Shadow Bolt, okay. And then he's going to have to trade with that creature. Power overwhelming, yeah, there it is. And then he's going to attack that. Okay, that's actually really... Oh! And he didn't actually... Wow. He didn't actually get to do it, so I win the game. That's 8. Yeah, he gave up. All right, wow. Well, that was an unexpected win. The reason I won that game, other than that he didn't draw what he needed, is that I played the Illidan correctly. I think I had some misplays early on, but I think the way that I played with the Illidan was good. So I hope that gave you a little bit of insight into how I build my decks. Honestly, I don't think this deck is that good. I think I got a little bit lucky, but I also think that the way I played my Illidan was good. So there's at least that. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you a little bit of insight. I'm sure most of the experienced players that watch this video are going to be like, this guy sucks and he's an idiot, but at least I was able to talk out what I was thinking. So if anyone more experienced wants to offer me advice as well, then I'd be able to, or I'd be you know, open to hearing advice as well. And for those of you that are less experienced, I hope this helped a little bit. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.